cities A and B are on the same east to west line. Assume that city A is located at the origin, and if the distance from city A to city B is at least 100 miles, and X is represented the distance between city B to city A, express this using absolute value notation. Okay, so first off, let's draw a lovely graph. Okay, so here's my graph. Mainly because they said that city A and B are on the same east to west line. So we're talking about basically an x-axis. And it's saying that city A is located at the origin. And the origin is 0, 0, right? So here is city A. And they're saying that if the distance from city A to city B is at least 100 miles. So if city A is over here and they're on the same line, technically they didn't say whether city B was this way to the left or if city B was this way to the right. Let's just pretend that it went to the right. So here is my city B. And they're saying that the distance, so this distance from A to B is at least 100 miles. Okay. So, from city A to city B, you're basically doing a difference between them, right? To get to the 100 miles. And they're saying at least. So if they're saying at least, that means that it could be more, right? If they say at least, it has to basically equal that number, and it could be more. This is the difference between knowing what at least means versus at most. So whenever they say that something is at least a value, that means that it could be that number, it could be equal to that number, but it could be more. So key in on the words that I used. It could be equal, or it could be more, which is basically saying greater than. So the distance from city A to city B is at least 100 miles. So I can say that from A to B, the distance between them, so subtraction, this distance, could be at least, so it could be greater, but it could be equal to 100. But now, they're saying that they want to represent X as the distance from city B to city A. And we want this using absolute value notation. Well, if we're getting out a positive answer, that means that if we just safely put this inside of an absolute value bracket, right, or notation, it will always give us out a positive answer. But now, could have I said the same thing going backwards, right? Could city B be first and city A be last? And would the distance still be at least 100 miles? Yeah. So just as I said that A minus B would be at least 100 miles, I could say, and I'll put it over here, that the distance between city B and A would be at least 100 miles. Mainly because a distance is a distance, right? It doesn't matter whether you start from A to go to B, or if you want to go from B to get to A, it's still going to be 100 miles. And that's what it's saying here. They're saying that X is representing the distance from city B to A. So from B to A. This whole thing is just stating that it's the distance, it's X. So all you're doing is you're just substituting B minus A for X. And they just want this in absolute value notation. So the absolute value of that distance has to be greater than or equal to 100. It has to be at least 100 miles, meaning that it could be equal to 100 or it could be greater than 100. And this is your final answer. So this was a little conceptual thinking, but the absolute value notation was quite simple. All right? So let me know what you guys think in the comments, all right? If this helped you, give it a like. Subscribe to the channel if you want to hear more of my lovely voice. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Keep studying hard. I know school can be tough sometimes, but just hang in there, all right? And I'll be here every step of the way for you guys. I will see you guys all in the next question. Happy studying.